I'm gonna start the intro. Live in 3, 2, 1, go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wombo Combo Show. My name is Ben Kepler. As you can see, I am solo today. As always, I'm joined with my producer, Paul. He's upstairs. You'll hear his voice chime in once in a while. Without Ben today, unfortunately, he's having some issues with the family, but just wanted to be able to take care of that stuff, some health issues there. So we miss him today. We hope everything's going okay for him, but we're going to carry on. It's New Year's Eve. It's time to party. It's a time to celebrate. And it's especially a time to celebrate if you were somebody who won your fantasy football league. Let's dive into some of that, see what happened, see how you may have gotten there, or what may have caused you to lose. First thing that we're going to cover, guys, we're going to step into some games here. Now, the first one that I do want to cover, we kind of took a look at, the Chargers game. If you joined us on Saturday, we had a live podcast during the Broncos and Bengals game, a watch party. A lot of you were in there for that. I want to thank you guys who joined us for that. So first game we're going to hop into tonight is that Cardinals-Rams game. We were going to go live for that one, but, man, you go live for 5 hours, man. You get tuckered out. So we're going to hop into that one here first. That's the first game we're going to cover. This game was really disappointing. Man, the biggest news out of this game, lost me 2 fantasy leagues, to be completely honest with you, was James frickin' Conner, okay? This man, he comes into the game. We're all thinking, oh, he's cleared. He's good to go. They're saying his knee's fine. He was a limited participant all week. He played like 10 snaps. Then he twisted his knee, and he was done for the day. And not only did they do that to us, folks, but they let him keep his helmet on for the whole game, even after halftime. So all game, if you were watching just for James Conner, you thought he might come back. He didn't. He ended up the day with, I think, 1.6 or 2.6 points, depending on how your fantasy goes. So, James Conner, thanks a lot, man. You'll let us down. But let's take a look at maybe some guys who might have done well for you. Another dud was, of course, Cooper Kupp, who's just been on this slate, guys, recently, where everything has moved towards Puka Nacua. In this game, Puka, 10 catches, 129 yards. Need I say more? He killed it. He was one of the top wide receivers for the week. Not number one. That was obviously T. Higgins. He won me the league. Shout out T. Higgins. You killed it, man. Number 2, when it comes to wide receivers, T. Higgins was in getting points for fantasy for every game that he played. He averaged the second most points. Crazy. You would never thought that at the beginning of the season. Kyron Williams also had a touchdown. He had 56 yards. On the other side of the football, it was a big day for Trey McBride. He finally broke the drought. He finally got his touchdown. He had 12 catches, 123 yards. Guys, Kyler Murray threw the ball a lot, 48 times. He had 2 interceptions, 1 pick. Obviously, the Cardinals were done. All they were playing for was to knock the Rams potentially out of the playoffs. Because of this game, Seattle Seahawks, you are eliminated, unfortunately. It's time to look at the offseason, see where we can change. Maybe get rid of Geno Smith. Let's take a look at the next game, guys, here. Rams obviously have clinched the playoffs. They are in. They've won their divisions. Congratulations to the Rams fans out there. Next game, blowout. And when I mean blowout, this was an absolute murder show. It was led by Kenny Pickett and then ended by the Mormon Missile, who ended up coming into the football game. Kenny Pickett ended up getting injured. He had this sloppy throw, guys. He ends up getting hit by, I can't remember the defenseman's name. It's number 43, 41, something like that of Dallas. Ends up coming on a edge rush. Kenny's going back. He goes to throw, and just the tip of his thumb or hand, tiny little hands, gets touched, and he falls forward and spikes the ball into the ground. I talked to some Eagles fans about this a little bit. They liked what they seen out of him. What I seen out of him is typical Kenny Pickett. He did win them the game, though. Obviously, like I said, Tanner McKee, the Mormon Missile, came into the football game. He threw 4 passes. He got 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, can you hate it? Other than that, though, big news out of this game. Saquon breaks 2,000 yards. He needs just over 100 yards next week in order to break the all-time record by Eric Dickerson. Will he play? Will they let him do that? Is that a smart thing? I'm not really in favor of it. Let me know in chat what you guys think. Saquon's known to get injured, guys. I'm not trying to put that into the air, but I think you got to, if you've already locked in the number 2 spot, Eagles aren't going up or down from there. Why are we playing anybody who's starting the next week? Let's let the Giants win. Let's let them win. They'll end up with like the 5th, 6th pick. Screw them. Let's screw over the Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. I'm just thinking out of my head here. Other things that are going on is that on the Cowboys side, they released Zeke Elliott a little bit earlier. They're going to allow Zeke Elliott to float around in free agency, see if any of these playoff teams want to pick him up. I mean, if you want to pick me up, I run faster than Zeke, and I probably weigh as much as him. So let me know, NFL teams. Other than that, though, we did have Trey Lance come in for one play. He threw for 1 yard. Whoop-de-doo. In the last meeting, Cooper Rush threw for almost 50, 60 times against the Eagles. Was really unsuccessful. This one, he had 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, only threw 28 times. A little bit over 50%, but really not that great for him. In this game, Rico Dowdle, probably the best. I mean, last time he got completely balled up. He did run 23 times. He ended up with 104 yards. Person who caught a touchdown, the only touchdown for the Cowboys, was Jalen Tolbert. I believe if I remember correctly, I believe he left injured in that game as well. Hope he's all right for next year. This next game, oh boy, let me tell you guys, in my fantasy football championship, I actually took on my co-host Ben, who isn't here today, and he had basically every Buccaneer who could have possibly been good outside of Mike Evans in this game. Baker Mayfield, what a day. 5 touchdowns, 27 of 32, okay, for 359 yards. Dude, Bake was cooking. Taking a look at some of those guys who caught his touchdowns, who may have helped you or killed you in fantasy, this is where it killed me. Well, it didn't kill me because I won, but this is where it was sketching me out. He had Baker and he had Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan, 5 catches, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was hurting me, guys. Outside of that, Bucky Irving. Thank God that he went down at the 1 yard line on that pass play from Baker Mayfield, or we might be talking a different story here, guys. Bucky Irving ends up getting this long pass that he got from Baker Mayfield, gets down to the 1 yard line, gets tripped up, kind of looks like he gets into the end zone, fumbles over the pylon a little bit with his body. Luckily, next play, they throw it to Mike Evans on a jump play. Mike Evans, 8 catches, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns for himself. Bucky didn't get a touchdown, but I mean 113 yards in the ground, 77 through the air, and 4 catches. If you're complaining about that, I don't know what is wrong with you. On the other side of the football, here's something, my goof of the week. So I have Kamara, guys. He obviously has been out the last 2 weeks. Got to find that filler running back. There was a good bit of filler running backs out there who you could have possibly used. The highest fantasy projection one was this Raheem Blackshear, who we all knew was a trap. I knew he was a trap. Why did I do this to myself? I ended up playing a Raheem Blackshear in place of Kamara because I didn't really have any better options, to be completely honest with you. He had 8 carries, 20 yards. That's all he did. He completely stunk it up. Wasn't a good game for him. They also used Mike Boone, a past running back of theirs. 2 rushes, 11 yards. Better average. No use, though, in playing him in fantasy. Big guy in this game was Adam Thielen. Old, reliable Adam Thielen. 5 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, guys. Alan Thielen. Why did I keep saying Alan? Adam, great player. Do I see him coming back next year? I don't know. Let me know in chat if you think Alan. I'll do it 4 more times before the end of the show. If Adam Thielen should play again next year, or you think he's going to hang it up just given what his age is? Do you think he goes back to the Panthers if he does? Bryce Young, 2 touchdowns, 15 of 28, 203 yards. Not really much else going on in the realm of Panthers production. Moving on to the next game here. This one, oh my God, was this a blowout? This was probably the worst blowout that the score doesn't show how bad the blowout actually was. This was the Jets and the Buffalo Bills, guys. The score was 40-14. If you played Garrett Wilson, we were talking about how the coach said he was going to get a bunch more targets. Oh, they're going to use Garrett Wilson left and right. He's basically going to be the Swiss Army knife for the team this week. Well, that wasn't true. Now, he did get 7 catches. He did have 66 yards. He did get a touchdown. Now, that touchdown was at the very end of the game, and it was from Tyrod Taylor. and not even Aaron Rodgers. So just to let you know when and how he acquired that, that was in garbage time. You got really lucky. I got really lucky. If you played Garrett Wilson and he caught that touchdown. Tyrod Taylor, let me tell you, Tyrod, he didn't have a bad day, my guy. He played against backups, but I mean, 11 of 18 for 2 touchdowns, only had 83 yards. He was skipping around. He had 2 runs for 6. I like Tyrod as a player. I think he's always been reliable in the sense that if you need an athletic guy to come out there and at least try to recover a football game or fill in for your injured quarterback who might be the starter, I've always thought Tyrod was pretty great. I thought he was good last year with the Giants as well. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers, though, took himself out of the game. He went up to the interim head coach and said, "Don't you think it's time we put Tyrod in? Don't you think it's time you retire, bro?" Anyways, he had 2 interceptions. He had 18 attempts, but he only had 12 completions, 112 yards. And now remember, this is Aaron Rodgers in a rivalry game. Not looking very good. Thinking that if he does come back next year, guys, it's probably going to be with the Jets. Outside of him, Breece Hall really let you down, guys. He had 10 carries for 45 yards. Probably not deserving of that pick by now, right? If we officially haven't, really set that in stone. He wasn't a first-round pick. I don't think he'll be a first, second, or maybe even third-round pick next year. If you're in double quarterbacks, he definitely won't be. Tyler Conklin, during garbage time, basically caught every pass. It was like the Tyler Conklin and Tyrod Taylor show to each other. He did have a touchdown. He had 57 yards. And like I said, 8 catches there. So if somehow you played Tyrod Taylor, or not Tyrod Taylor, but Conklin, which I know that you didn't. If you did, you're crazy, and it worked out for you this time. He had some great points. On the other side of the football, Josh Allen spreading the football around. He was 16 of 27. He had 2 touchdowns, 182 yards. Decent day for him. Not his best, but we're talking about Josh Allen here, who has immaculate days. They did run the football a good bit. Josh run in for a touchdown, 17 yards there. This game, I mean, they were just blowing them out for 90% of it. James Cook, he had a touchdown as well. When it comes to passing catchers who had touchdowns, it was Shavers, who I've never heard of him. I know that this was Mitch Trubisky throwing the ball when he caught this touchdown, and it was a long, broken tackle, looked almost like a kick return type play on a screen. But I honestly don't know who Shavers is. I've never heard of him. Amari Cooper, probably my number one guy who's going to be on my list for Saturday, or probably for Saturday. I'll have it for you. Is the list of guys I will never draft again in fantasy football. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Amari Cooper might be headlining that one. He's definitely up there. In this game, though, he did have 3 catches, 56 yards. He caught a deeper touchdown that he ended up getting injured on. Didn't come up very well after catching the ball. He was on the right side of the end zone. It was a nice catch. Other than that, though, Keon Coleman, he had the other touchdown for him, 27 yards as well. Keon Coleman, I think he's good. I don't necessarily know where I rate him in amongst the other rookie wide receivers. Obviously, a lot of the other ones a lot better, at least so far. And he has Josh Allen. So next game we're going to cover. Wow, this one was a killer for one team in real life and a killer for all of you guys who decided that the Colts were the play of the week for your defense. Man, oh man, was that not the case. Colts get destroyed by Drew Lock. What? Destroyed by Drew Lock. Drew Lock throws only 23 passes. He has 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Dude, Malik Neighbors in this game went nuts. He had seven catches for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. And these catches were not like supposed to be touchdown catches. Like he made them into touchdown catches. Malik Neighbors had himself a day. Tracy, he ran 20 times. He was honestly bottled up. He only ended up getting 59 yards on the ground, which was pretty surprising that the ground game was what ended up being bottled up the most for the Giants. It was one of the things that actually was working out well for him. Pretty funny stat, along with his 4 touchdowns on the ground, Drew Lock also ran 5 times. He got 0 yards, and he scored a touchdown. And it was, I believe, the touchdown that really put them ahead and made sure that the Colts couldn't come back. I believe it was at the end of the football game. I remember the scamper. It was to the left side. I can't remember what point in time of the game it is, but man, Colts, aren't you defeated in this one? Wan'Dale Robinson had a touchdown. Darius Slayton had a touchdown. They had a defensive touchdown as well, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Looking at the Colts side of the football, there was some highlights. One thing I did want to mention, and I'm sure Colts fans noticed this, Jonathan Taylor, when we got to the fourth quarter, about 12-ish minutes left, even in the last possession of the third quarter, dude looked like he was beat. I mean, like beat up, tired. And this isn't to say that he wasn't doing good. It was just they had to use him so much that it looked like he was just worn out. I mean, he's been running yards upon yards the last 2 weeks. Jonathan Taylor's been great. He had 32 carries for 125 yards, 2 touchdowns in this football game. Was enough to help me win my fantasy football. Wasn't enough to help out the Colts. Colts defense, if I didn't mention, -4 on the defense, -4, the least amount of points you could possibly get. Alex Pierce, great game. I don't want to deflect and not mention this. Alex Pierce had a great game, and we kind of knew that with Joe Flacco coming in, some sort of Colt wide receiver was going to go off, and it was more than one. It was Michael Pittman Jr. Which one of you thought that was going to happen? Let me tell you, my opponent. That's who. He had 109 yards, a touchdown, and 9 catches. Michael Pittman, where have you been all season? Literally only played Michael Pittman because last second there was an injury, and he put Michael Pittman in. Colts fans, you're disappointed. I know. What do we look for in the offseason? Do we continue going underneath of Anthony Richardson? I kind of think so. I kind of think he got better. He improved enough for us to try again next year and try to build around him. What do you guys think? What's number one on your mind that you need? I think you need a secondary. Let me know. Next game we're going to talk about here, guys. This is the Raiders and the Saints game. This was the most, who cares about this game of all. Brock Bowers, great. He's probably the only thing I'm really going to talk about in this game. I will mention that this entire season, I forgot that Spencer Rattler was on that stupid show when he was a little kid where he was a total brat the entire time and a bully to all the other kids on the show, the football show. I don't even remember what it was called because it sucked that much. But Spencer Rattler, you suck, and you suck in the NFL, and you deserve to suck. Kick rocks. Anyways, getting back to the other side of the football, there's literally nothing to talk about on the Saints side. They were 10 points. I mean, the touchdown was by Foster Moreau, who I do love. Guy came back from, I believe it's leukemia or some sort of cancer. So shout out to him. He gave a big speech after the game about heart and how people need to play on that Saints team. Let's take a look at the Raiders, though. Bowers broke a record. You got the most, I believe it's receiving yards by a rookie tight end ever, and it might be most catches too. I don't know 100% on that one, but yeah, he blew up. He has 7 catches in this game. He had 77 yards. Big player in this game who you didn't think was going to be a big player. I was really surprised. 20 carries for Amir Abdullah. Amir Abdullah. That is not usually heard of. He had 115 yards. Kind of just sounds like they went with the hot hand in this one. Jacoby Myers had a touchdown, 61 yards. But like I said, not much going on in this football game. Raiders fans, you're moving towards the draft. You kind of been in draft mode for a while now. Let me know. What are you for sure trying to go for? Is it the quarterback? And if it is it Shadur? Is it Cam Ward? Who do Raiders fans want? Let me know in the chat. Next game, we're going to talk about this one. This is the battle for who gets the number 1 pick, basically, in this game. This game, something else. If you played BTJ, great all year. On like the most garbage of teams in the Jaguars this season. Really, really big props to Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, the dude's elite. LSU, you're producing wide receivers like no other. Mason Rudolph got the start in this game. From what I've heard, the Titans are going to play both Will Levis and Mason Rudolph next week just to kind of, shake it up. We're going to shake it up. We're going to play Mason Rudolph, and then we're going to put Mayonnaise Boy in the football game too, and then he'll throw like 4 picks, and then we'll make sure that we know that we want to get rid of him. Okay, Titans. Anyways, Mason Rudolph, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, almost 200 yards, 193 on the day. Tajay Spears, we told you if you needed somebody as a filler, maybe give him consideration. He had 95 yards on the ground. Taking a look at what he did in the pass game, it really isn't that much, guys. He had 3 catches for 8 yards. But, I mean, altogether, if you needed a fill-in running back, he was one of the best ones out in that free agency. So, hopefully he got you the win. Calvin Ridley had most of Mason Rudolph's yards. He had 5 catches, 84 yards. Jaguars, like I mentioned, Mac Jones tossing the ball up to Brian Thomas Jr., 7 times, 91 yards, 1 touchdown. Parker Washington also had a touchdown. Penn State guy, so shout out to him. Guy number 2, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. Guy number 2 on my list that I will officially rank and make up, but guy that I'm just seeing that I know that I'll never draft again, Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne, you've lost all your luster and all your shine. Dude did nothing good this year. Got injured early, came back. You figured, okay, he's going to come back from his injury. Trevor's out, so they're probably going to use him a lot. No, they didn't use him a lot because he doesn't do anything. The guy sucks. I think they're going to move on from him and try to use Tank Bigsby moving forward. Taking a look at this next game, Jags, let me know who you want in the draft. Your situation is very weird. You have a lot of pieces, but they just don't work together. Let me know what you're looking for in the draft. Do you think the Jags should trade out and get multiple picks and kind of move things around? Let me know. But this next game we're going to talk about, guys, this wasn't even a game. Like, not really. This is the Cleveland Browns hosting the Miami Dolphins, who are trying to stay in the playoff race. They did. Cleveland Browns, it was raining up in Cleveland. It was a nasty day. Cleveland showed up and played nasty football. They let DTR play quarterback again, which we talked about at the beginning of the season. He's young, he's athletic, he kind of progressed dramatically over the preseason, and you've seen him tossing the ball up against backups very well. So you thought when he came in, maybe you would see something out of him. I think the Browns realized what they got in him, and it's not very much. Not even very great at backup quarterback, to be completely realistic based on these stats. He threw the ball 47 times. He had 24 completions, 170 yards, and an interception. So, I mean, not the greatest, especially when you're playing against Tyler Huntley, who is a comparable player to you, and he highly outscores you. I mean, of course, he has Tyreek Hill and Achane, but that's beside the point. Big player in this game, basically he caught half of the balls in this football game for the Browns, was Jerry Jeudy. 12 catches, 94 yards. I benched him. I'm sad about it. It is what it is. We're going to move on to the Dolphins side of the football, where we had Huntley be one of the best players of the week. I mean, how did you expect this? No, none of you expected this. Unless somebody told the Browns to purposely lose this game, which is possible. Tyler Huntley, 22 of 26 for 225 yards, a touchdown. He ran 7 times for 52 yards and a touchdown. Is that Pro Bowl Tyler Huntley we're talking about? Yes, it is. It is Pro Bowl Tyler Huntley. Devon Achane, if you played him in your finale this week, God, are you angry at him? 10 rushes, 25 yards. He got 2 balls for 13. Devon Achane completely shut down. Mostert also shut down. I mean, basically all the running backs were shut down. Let's be realistic. It was a quarterback who had the number 1 rushing yards. In the passing game, Tyreek Hill, 9 catches, 105 yards. And Jonnu Smith caught that late touchdown to save the day for him. It's not the first time he's done that. 3 catches, 26 yards in that touchdown. Waddle out. I don't know if Waddle's even going to be a Dolphin after this year, guys. Dolphins, you got 1 game left to try to make the playoffs. You need a couple losses from some other teams. So we'll see what you can pull off here. Next game we're going to cover, guys. This is NFC North Premier Football. This is the game that mattered. I won't say the most, but it's the game that I had the most weight in for my fantasy football week. My opponent, Ben, he had Jordan Love. I had Jaden Reed, bum. Jordan Addison, baller. Hawkinson, baller. And then I played Minnesota's defense, who came out with the dub in this one. The Vikings go on to go to 14-2. Packers 11-5, 27-25 was the final score. Jordan Love, like 15 fantasy points. Man, if you started him as your quarterback this week, he really let you down. You thought you were going to get more out of him. He was 19 of 30 for 185 yards and a touchdown. Not very productive day. He had a lot. I'll give it to Jordan Love. Jaden Reed dropped the ball a bunch. Romeo Dubes had a drop. There was some pretty sloppy football going on across the board. 17 carries for Josh Jacobs for 69 yards and a touchdown. He wasn't using the pass game in this one, and Romeo Dubes with 7 catches for 58 yards was the top wide receiver. Jaden Reed, I think he ended with 1.1 points in fantasy. Yikes. Sam Darnold balled out, 33 of 43, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sam Darnold, he might be good at football. I don't know. I haven't officially decided that he's good, or if it's that offense that's really good and their head coach, and they are just making him look good. But Sam's going to get paid this offseason. That's for sure. Aaron Jones in this game, 12 carries, 47 yards. He got hurt in this game. He also had 30 yards through the air on 4 catches. Justin Jefferson, 8 catches, 92 yards. Good game for him, 17.2 in PPR leagues. Jalen Naylor, he had a great game. 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. He caught a distraction route. They pulled everybody apart. He went up the middle. Sam found them. That was one of their first touchdowns of the game. Jalen Naylor looks really good as their third option. And, of course, Jordan Addison, who could have had a second touchdown. Sam actually missed him on a deep ball, threw it too short, I would say, is what you would call it. I mean, Jordan Addison had to stop running. So, yeah, it is what it is. It was in the end zone. But he ended with 6 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Great day for him. Cam Akers also caught a touchdown in this football game. Vikings look to clinch the division this week, taking on the Detroit Lions. That is going to be a good football game. Basically, the way it works out is whoever wins that football game, and you think that's crazy, right? At 14-2, you might get knocked back to 5th place. So whoever loses against the Vikings and the Lions, they'll be 5th place. Whoever wins, you're taking number 1, my guys. So we'll see how that one goes. Detroit Lions real beat up. Hopefully they can get some players back. It's going to be a good football game. We're going to take a look at this Sunday night football game, guys. Ha, 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 ha. Jaden Daniels, you are the man. I took a flyer on you in the offseason, thinking you were going to be good, and you were. You're great. You're like the best. They played Michael Penix for the Falcons. He did good. I want to talk a little bit about Michael Penix here in a second, but Jaden Daniels, I mean, rookie of the year, 100%, without a doubt. No, there is no, what about this guy? No, there isn't what about this guy. It's Jaden Daniels. Washington Commanders, first time they've had 11 wins since, I think, like 1996 or some odd year when I was a little child. But, like, yeah, Commanders are on fire. They did, however, need overtime in order to win this one. Obviously, the Commanders won the They won the ball, and then they had to go back and score a touchdown. I mean, they won the toss is what I meant to say. But it was a nice touchdown. It was to Ertz. It was a great game. He ended up with 35 fantasy points, so that's pretty awesome. I'm sure if you played him, you probably either came close to winning or won. Dude, Jaden Daniels almost got bent backwards in the first quarter. I don't know if you guys seen that. It was on a potential sack play, or maybe it counted as a sack play, but this was early in the second quarter, gets tackled from behind, rolls back on him. I mean, he literally got bent like a slinky and somehow stood up and was completely fine. The announcers go, "Oh, what it means to be young." And thank God you are, dude, because I thought that your legs were going to get ripped off. He ended up with 16 carries for 127 yards. He ended up throwing 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jaden Daniels, you are awesome. Brian Robinson Jr., I mean, he's not doing terrible, guys, but he is not doing that great. He had 2 catches, 9 yards, but he had 60 yards on the ground.
Real quick here, Cap. I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Gabe in chat wants to know, is Amir Abdullah a good start?
I mean, if you were playing in week 18, which is, oh, man, does that stink for you, Gabe? But, I mean, Amir Abdullah wouldn't be a terrible start. He's definitely going to play again. They play the Chargers, and the Chargers are kind of locked into their position, so it really doesn't matter too much for them to play. If I was him, I would try to lean maybe on the 49ers running back, maybe like Garendo or Michael Carter, who will definitely be the starter for the Cardinals next week. It's kind of hard to go for week 18. Yeah, if you have any other ones, guys, if you're in week 18, drop your questions in. I'll gladly answer them for you.
Gabe also wants to know, does he play Jalen McMillan or MHJ?
In the final week, I would assume that you would want to play Jalen McMillan. Here's why. Buccaneers have a lot to play for. Not really a lot to play for, but they want to make sure that they end this off on a win. I would say Jalen McMillan. Did he have another option for that one?
He did not, and he also wanted to know Rashad White or Najee.
Oh, it would be Najee.
Najee.
It would be Najee. I wouldn't go Rashad White. I would go Najee. I know that's kind of a crazy take, but the Bengals defense just sucks. So even though Najee sucks, the Bengals defense sucks worse. So I would go Najee, especially because they matter. Buccaneers, they're playing the Saints. The Saints aren't going to try.
And one
Let's be
final good
honest.
question here coming from Logan. He wants to know who's getting comeback player of the year. I know we talked about this earlier in the year, but I honestly didn't have an answer for him.
Yeah, for comeback player of the year, I think it's a little bit across the board. If I was to personally take my pick, I would think it would probably be Sam Darnold. I think that Sam Darnold had the best comeback this year. I don't think that you would consider Baker's year a comeback year. I thought he should have got it last year. If there is anybody else that I would honestly really consider for comeback player of the year, at this point in time, no. I honestly think it's him. I think that he has it pretty squared away, in my opinion. If it wasn't him, it would be maybe Justin Herbert, to be completely honest. But those would be who I would consider those two quarterbacks. There isn't really any other players that I can think of off the top of my head that I would consider for that. Did you have any other ones in chat
Yeah, let's get
Paul?
one here from Alum, and then we'll jump in, try to finish up the show here before we jump
Yeah,
into
for sure,
Q&A.
Alan. What's up, dog?
Our boy Alum's back. He wants to know Nix or Mayfield, excuse me.
Nix or Mayfield, if you're looking into this next week and you want to, if it's for fantasy purposes, I would say if you're looking at the matchups, Mayfield will take on the Saints. And then you have, I'm sorry, who was the other one? Nix, right?
Yeah.
Nix takes on the Chiefs. So what I'm going to tell you is this. As much as the Chiefs aren't going to start people like Patrick Mahomes and friends, they are still going to be playing the Broncos, and they're still going to try. So I would take, most likely, I would take Nix. I think Baker gets benched in the second half after they're absolutely destroying the Saints. That would be my answer, Alum. I would go with Nix for Week 18 if you had to. Man, wouldn't that stink if you had to do Week 18, Paul? I know that you're not big into fantasy football, but just to kind of fill you in, or maybe anybody else out there who's like, why does he care? Week 18, if your commissioner allows it to go to Week 18, basically half of your fantasy football team isn't going to play. You have to cut all of them, and then you have to go find random players who don't normally play football and hope that they do good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look, guys. Don't do Week 18. I'm going to jump back in here. Only got the rest of this Commanders game to cover. I want to talk about Michael Penix a little bit. We'll talk about last night's football game, the Monday Night Football game. Take a look at Saturday, and then we're going to hop into Q&A officially. So, guys, get your questions ready. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys here soon and hearing what you guys have to say. What I was saying is, though, Jaden Daniels, absolutely rookie of the year. I'd probably give Sam Darnold, like we were just talking, the comeback player of the year. Guys, if you have another option, put that in chat too. I want to hear what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think the comeback player of the year would be. Kirk Cousins, if you could have played football well, since we're on the Atlanta Falcons, you would have been an option. But, dude, you pooped out.
Logan keeps wondering Joe Burrow is comeback player of the year, which is interesting because I feel like he had a good year last year too, though, right? Or I don't know.
No, Joe Burrow was injured all of last season. Okay. I could see Joe Burrow maybe as a comeback player of the year. Gabe, that was a good answer. That actually is a good one. I'm going to dwell on that one. I still think no, you know what? I think Gabe has a solid point. I think there's a solid argument that it would be a battle between Sam Darnold and Joe Burrow. I know that sounds crazy, but Gabe, I think you have a valid point. Was there anything else here? I'm going to finish up this game here.
No, sorry for the interruption. You're good.
No, you're done. You're good. Another person, guys, who had a touchdown in this football game that I just wanted to cover, he vultured it away from Brian Robinson Jr. I've been talking about him a little bit, was Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez, I think that if you need a running back for next week, you might be able to play Chris Rodriguez, guys. I'm not kidding. For the Falcons, what a disappointing season when it comes down to it. You paid all that money. You guys were so hyped about bringing Kirk Cousins in. Then you draft a quarterback in the first round. He's left-handed. His first name's Mike. It's like we've been here before. And then Kirk Cousins poops out. leaves, and we've got to depend on this Penix guy. Now, let me tell you, I've got a couple friends who are either just Penix guys who are Atlanta Falcons fans. I talked to them a lot during this game. What I think about Penix is that he is totally coachable into being very good. This is what I've seen out of him. Extremely strong arm. I got to use my left hand. He's lefty. Extremely strong arm. Sometimes does not pick the right velocity on his throws. A lot of the throws that I seen out of him in this football game, it was like if you just gave it the touch, it would have been a completion. Everything looks like a fastball coming out of this guy's hand. Is that a bad thing? No. He's got a great arm. Does he need to know how to tune it up and when to use it and how to use it a little bit more? I think so. I think there was a lot more opportunities out there for Atlanta. I think he's seen some rookiness out of Penix. Not necessarily in his decision-making or anything, just in the way he used his arm, in my opinion. That was my number one takeaway from this game. Penix doesn't know how to throw the ball at what velocity when in these play calls. Am I saying that he doesn't know how to? No. He's went to the national championship. I understand that he knows how to play and throw a football. But in circumstantial football, does he? In this football game, it didn't really show that he did. Other things I wanted to cover about the Falcons. Dude, first half, they were killing them in the first half. Second half, there was a stat. They had like 4 yards in like the fourth quarter. Like completely shut down. Bijan Robinson, 2 touchdowns, 90 yards on 17 carries. 90% of that was in the first half. Drake London had 7 catches for 106 yards. Kyle Pitts caught the touchdown that tied it up to take him into overtime. Kyle Pitts, a touchdown? Is this real life? Yeah. I don't know. They said, what a breakout catch by Kyle Pitts. Guys, that's not a breakout catch by Kyle Pitts. I'm not expecting to see Kyle Pitts progress any more than he already was. Cade Ellis played really well. They switched where the linebackers were. Troy Anderson and Cade Ellis. Cade Ellis played really well. I noticed that, and I wanted to make note of it. If you do IDP, which I do, he did great. A lot of tackles and interception as well, like I mentioned. Let's jump into this next game here. Last game of the week that was last night. Kind of a, some of you, not me. I guess this is why I kind of feel about this game. I needed a miracle in this game I'm sure a lot of you needed a miracle in order to either win or lose your fantasy football match. And I didn't get a winning miracle, and I didn't get a losing miracle. So this game ended up not really mattering to what the score was before it started, I guess is the best way to put that. First, I'm going to cover the San Francisco 49ers side of the football. Brock Purdy, last couple plays of the football game, hurts his arm. Elbow, he said his elbow's on fire, his arm hurts. Getting MRIs done. Kind of looks like Brock Purdy shut down for this year. Probably going to be maybe requiring a small surgery. Hopefully it's nothing major for him, but that is a scare. Week 17, team's game doesn't matter. Your quarterback gets hurt. Your quarterback is ready for a contract extension this offseason. Really makes things wishy-washy for them. They threw Josh Dobbs in the football game. I believe, he ran. I was going to say, I think he ran for a touchdown, and he did. The Pastronaut, who should have played in the game that I mentioned earlier in the season, but no, we played Brandon Allen, and he sucked it up. You could have played Josh Dobbs. 3 of 4 for 34 yards, rushed 1 time for 7 yards and a touchdown. Josh Dobbs, way better quarterback than Braden Allen. Hopefully he plays next week. If you guys need a quarterback for week 18, check out old Joshy Dobbs. Guy who killed me in this football game was Isaac Arendo. Came back from injury. He had 64 yards through the air on 4 catches. It was a really long 45-yard catch, I believe it was, that really put the nail in the coffin for me. He also had 34 on the ground, if I didn't say that. They used Debo a little bit as a running back. He was not the greatest at it. He had 3 runs. He had 16 yards. In the passing game, he did catch 1 pass for 5 yards and a touchdown. And it wasn't even a pass. It was one of those pitch plays, one of those pitch passes that counts for a pass. So great job, Debo. He didn't score enough points for Ben to beat me in fantasy football, so I was pretty happy. Big guy in this game was Ricky Pearsall. He kind of had a breakout game. I'll give it to him as a breakout game. He had 8 catches, 141 yards. 141 and a touchdown. Other guy who did well in this game, I needed him to do better, though. I just needed him to do just a little better. I needed 144 yards and a touchdown. That's what I needed. He didn't get it. George Kittle, 8 catches, 112 yards, 0 touchdowns. So that was the killer for me. On the other side of the football, though, there's goods, there's bads. So, I mean, I am a Detroit Lions fan. I like the Detroit Lions a lot. But, I mean, I think we all seen this. It was pretty obvious. It's pretty easy to see. Without their defensemen, they just allow points. Every time they're on defense, they just allow points. Whether it takes a long time or whether it's a splash play and they just let it up, they always allow points. Now give it, this is the San Francisco 49ers, who have a record of 6-9 when they went into this game. But the San Francisco 49ers have a decent offense. Still hoping to get some guys back here. They're talking about getting David Montgomery back for the playoffs. That sounds crazy to me. They're saying that his injury isn't as serious as they thought before. So hopefully for us that David Montgomery comes back. Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously great, but we're going to run the wheels off of him if we keep using him this much. He had 18 carries, 117 yards. He also had 4 catches for 46. I mean, Jahmyr is great. Don't get me wrong, but those kind of speedy backs, they cannot be used at this high velocity. That's why you've seen Craig Reynolds play a lot last night, and also Jamar Jefferson, who had some really subpar play. Let's just put it that way. I didn't really like what I seen out of Jefferson. I will give it to him. The one play that was a screen play that he didn't catch wasn't really a screen play to him. It was just Goff dumping the ball down. Goff, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns. Great accuracy. It was 26 of 34. Other than that, though, dudes, the offense is just so good. Like, so good. There's like 10 billion people I can mention this one. I already did mention Jahmyr Gibbs and the quarterback Goff, but like Jameson Williams, St. Brown, Laporta had a great game as well. You even had, he didn't have a good game, don't get me wrong, but you had Allen Robinson catch a ball. When is the last time you heard about Allen Robinson catching a football? And then you had Tim Patrick as well with a 2-point conversion. Laporta, Williams, and St. Brown all touchdowns. 5 receptions for Williams, 6 for Laporta, and 8 for St. Brown. 60 yards, 64, and 78 for those guys. They're all really good. Jameson Williams also had a rushing touchdown. It's not this is the whole thing that I think could be the killer for us Detroit Lions fans. When we go into the Vikings next week, not only do they have a really good offense like us, but their defense isn't hurt. And they're really good on defense as well. So I'm excited to take a look at that. Guys, let me know in chat who you think is going to win that football game. I think it's going to be tight. I won't give anything away who I think. Tune in Saturday. I'll let you know then. Let's jump into the last segment here of the day. I kind of wanted to talk about these up-and-coming Saturday football games. These games that you're going to see with us if you join us live for our next watch party. This will be for the AFC North everything. This is for all the marbles. There are going to be 2 games. They're going to be back-to-back. The first one means a lot more than the second one, and the NFL flexed them together smartly to make sure that is exactly what, to be honest, they should have flipped them if you're asking me. But the first one is going to be the Browns going over to Baltimore. Now, it's the Browns. The Browns beat the Ravens last time. Well, and let's make this very clear that they not only beat them, but they beat them when old Deshaun was in the football game, okay? That's saying something. The Browns somehow have the number of every single AFC North team's quarterback, no matter who it is. So be careful in this game. I know the 13-3 Browns are not looking that scary, but I really feel that they could give the Ravens a game. Now, that's coming from a Steelers fan, and I'm not saying that the Browns are going to beat the Ravens, but I think they can make it really close. And for the Steelers to win the AFC North, they need that to happen. They absolutely have to have that to happen. I think this is a generally high-scoring game. I'm not going to say that it's high-scoring because it's competitive, but it's going to be high-scoring in one way, shape, or form, I think. I think the game goes over 44 points. If you're a bettor, I would take a look at that. Also, I would take a look at doing an under on some of the running backs in this football game. Browns shut down HN and Mostert last week. That's something to take note of when you're looking for bets for Derrick Henry this week. I wouldn't necessarily say he's not an anytime touchdown scorer, but I do not think he is a high rushing total scorer in this week. So take a look at that maybe for your bets. Maybe an under on Derrick Henry, maybe an over on if the game is, I'm not sure if they've released it yet, but if it's like 39, 40, 41, maybe take the over on that one. Lamar Jackson, kind of looking like he's going to be the MVP. Let me know in chat who you think the MVP is or in the comments down below. For me, I think there's really only 4 choices at this point in time. I think it's number 1 choice is Lamar Jackson. Number 2 is Josh Allen. Number 3, Joe Burrow. I really think it's Joe Burrow. And then number 4, Saquon. And I think that Saquon and Joe Burrow are tied. I would consider them tied. And I'm not going to lie to you. I looked before the show. So does Vegas. Vegas also thinks that they're tied. They're both given plus 1,600 for winning that respected award. Moving into the next game. This game kind of has a lot less meaning if the Ravens do win, guys, for the Steelers at least. The Bengals need to win this football game in order to have a chance to get into the playoffs. Not only do the Bengals need to win, they need a Broncos loss, and they need a Miami loss. So in order for the Bengals to get in, you need the Broncos to lose. You need Miami to lose. They should be A-okay. For the Steelers, they need a Ravens loss, a Steelers win. They lock up the division in 3rd. If they lose, they will end up most likely taking the 5th spot. That means that they'll end up taking on the Texans in the wild card. Do I hate it? Not necessarily. I think that the Texans are probably the 3rd or 4th easiest team in the playoffs on the AFC side of the football. I mean, the Steelers are kind of one of the easiest teams too, given what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. Steeler fans, let's hope that they turn that around. I really hope they do.
Quick shout out here to T-Roy.
Yeah.
Dropped us a donut in for a gift here. We appreciate you. He's a Ravens fan, though, so we can't get too crazy here.
Haha. Well, we'll see what happens this week. Both teams are really fighting for for the standings, for the AFC North. Man, I really appreciate the gift. I hope you're in the Q&A. If you got anything you want to chat back and forth with us about, keep that tuned. We're going to be jumping to that in just a couple minutes here. For this football game, guys, Bengals and Steelers, I really, 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 really don't know if the Steelers have it. Now, there is one thing that holds us together. This game's in Pittsburgh. And Myron Cope will be looking down from the heavens upon these Pittsburgh Steelers in this football game. And I think that is what gives them the edge. I really don't think it's the play. I don't think it's a change around of anything. I think it's the Pittsburgh juju that ends up giving the Steelers this football game and ends Joe Burrow's season. Now, if Joe Burrow wins this football game, he stays in that MVP race. If Joe Burrow doesn't win this football game, I do not think that he should be a part of the MVP race. Let me be very clear with that. Other things that I want to mention in this football game, it might rain. It's supposed to be really cold, so that might turn into snow. Be very wary of that. And I also think, guys, be careful if you're betting on this football game. I already know that Vegas is going to have that over very high, okay? Let's not get too crazy. I think the over's a trap in this game. I would stay away from the over, whatever they have it set as, and let's break something down individually. I think Chase Brown is a really good option. I think Jamar Chase is a really good option. Obviously, T's a good option. I like Jaylen Warren, and I like Freiermuth as well. If you're getting real zesty, I wore his jersey for a reason. Boswell is amazing in Pittsburgh. Take him over his amount of points to be scored, which I believe is going to be 7.5. Take a look at that. Other than that, though, guys, I didn't have much else I wanted to cover for you this week. Obviously, there are some big games coming up for this week that are going to break down the playoffs and how the playoffs are going to be situated. Per the moment, it's pretty set in stone at the top of the board. It's either going to be, for the NFC side, the Vikings or the Lions. Philly's already filled in their spot. And then moving down, We're going to take a look at a couple different scenarios that might be able to change things up, but it's looking pretty locked in. It really depends on, for those 5 through 7 teams, which team wins this week and which team loses, for how they move back and forth through there. Obviously, on the AFC side of the football, it's looking like Chiefs locked in 1, Bills locked in 2. 3 will either be the Steelers or the Ravens, depending on the situation we just talked about. 4 is going to be the Texans. 5 will be the other one out of that Steelers-Ravens group. Then you're going to have 6 Chargers, and 7 will either be the Broncos if they win, the Bengals if the Broncos and Dolphins lose, or the Dolphins if Cincinnati and the Broncos lose. So that's what it's all coming down here, coming up to Saturday and Sunday. If you're still in fantasy football, let me know what questions you have. I will be going into Q&A here in about 5 minutes. If you were listening today on YouTube or Spotify, I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you're out here. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you're following along. We're doing all kinds of new things. We're doing our live, watch parties. They're a great time. We've been hanging out with everybody. You have the game on up, and we're just, watching along together. I think they're an absolute blast. It is New Year's, so I hope you have a great New Year's, whatever your resolution is for the year coming. I hope you do it. I hope you set it in stone, and I hope it becomes real life, and I hope that it works out for you. I don't have one because I probably wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? But at that, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Wombo Combo Show, number 30. And again, Happy New Year's. Have a great night, and we'll see you in Q&A here in a couple of minutes. Talk to you later, guys. Peace out. How'd I do solo? Yeah.
Good. I would say we're technically still up on YouTube.
I know.
But I have the Be Right Back screen up, so anybody on YouTube could hear us talking. But no, I thought you did good. I mean, I was actually surprised you filled up the whole 53 minutes there so easily. So, yeah, no, went well. Oh, that just freaked me out. You typed in chat and it said my name to me, and I was like, wait, what? How? It's because you're logged in as me down there.
All right, send us back in. We're cool.
Okay. Hopefully that worked. It did. Okay.
What is up? Looks like we're back, eh?
You are now.
What's up, y'all? We are back. We are live for the Q&A portion of the Wombo Combo Show, episode number 30. Hopefully, you guys were able to tune in and tune along for the podcast portion of it. Craig Love, I seen you jumping in chat, dog. What up, Craig? Did you win? Let me know, Craig. Please tell me you won on T. Higgins' back, dog, because I did, and I'm super hype about it. I hope you won, Craig. Guys, welcome into the live. Like I said, this is just the live Q&A section of the Wombo Combo Show. We're talking sports. Anything you want to talk about sports, we're here for it. Craig, 150 to 129, my dude. Let's go. All on the back of T. Let's go. I'm so happy for you, buddy. How much did you win? I ended up, so I had 3, Craig. I ended up going 1 and 2 this week, unfortunately, in championships, but I ended up winning $700, so I'm pretty happy about it. You got a rack? Let's go, dog. What are you going to use it for? Do you have anything specific you want to use it for? Guys, welcome into the live. We are just talking anything sports related. This is the Q&A section of the Wombo Combo Show. Hanging out, doing a little reminiscent about our fantasy football year, or if you have a fantasy football week 18, drop a question in, or if you just want to talk about your team, maybe what they're going to do in the draft, what they're going to do in the playoffs. That's what we're doing. We're just kind of hanging out. Craig, I'm buying a computer with my money. Paul, my producer, is going to help me kind of get a gaming setup going. So that way, like in the off season, for any of you guys who are gamers, I'm going to play a little Madden, just a couple new games coming out that I'm just going to play along and, we'll talk sports and do that kind of stuff while we go. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. B-Day coming up. Dude, you should do a weekend trip, Craig. Hey, I'll tell you what, Craig. So anytime I win the fantasy league, I really try to use that money for something that is like a really big gift to myself. So last year, I'm reigning champion. So I won last year as well, surprisingly enough. I have a pair. There we go. So last year, I bought myself a PlayStation 5 with the winning money. Awesome. I mean, like a nice little stress reliever when I get out of work every day and after the show and stuff. The year before, on what you did, Craig, I used that money to I live on the East Coast, so I flew down to Myrtle Beach, got an Airbnb with a couple buddies with a pool in the back right on the beach there, and we hung out for like 5 days. Freaking awesome. It was the best. So, yeah, dude, if you could do a little mini trip out of that would be sick. Let me know what you would plan on doing, Craig. What are you into, dog? My next thing is I want to go on a long over-the-weekend kayak camping trip. That's my next thing that I'm looking forward to doing. Guys, if you're jumping into the live, we're just hanging out, talking a little sports, talking a little BS. You know what I mean? Just kind of hanging out. It's football week. 18. There isn't really a ton of fantasy football left with you guys. Justin, what's up, man? Welcome to the live. But if you're in fantasy, let me know. If you're doing any bets this week, let me know for fantasy or for football. Or maybe if you're getting into some hockey bets, I know the UFC starts up, Paul, 14 days we got now?
Yeah, we should be getting there, actually.
I think it's 113. Yeah. Jeep, what are my thoughts on Drake May, brother? I think that Drake May is awesome. I can tell by your photo there that you must be a Patriots fan yourself. Tell me, Jeep, is there anybody else on the Patriots other than Drake May that you would love to see back next year? I'll give you one name of a guy that I think did well to end the season. He's another rookie. I think that Kayshon Boutte is not that bad. I actually think he's a decent wide receiver out of LSU.
I also want to know how short of a leash is Gerard on? You know what I mean? Like, do they give him 2 years?
Oh, yeah.
If he struggles next year, is he out or what?
He's on a pretty long deal. Jeep, I agree. Okay, Jeep, good call out. Hunter Henry, great dump down guy for Drake May. They have really good chemistry. I like what you said first. Your offensive line blows balls, brother. Paul, I don't know if you're going to know this name, but Chuka Okorafor. Do you know who that is, Paul?
Yeah, I've definitely heard the name.
He used to be a starting right tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. That guy sucks. That guy super sucks. So, I mean, and that's their starter. Jeep, you guys definitely could use a new offensive line. I could see that. Defensively, I think you're pretty good in the secondary. I think you're okay on the defensive line. I think you could really use a good pass rusher. What do you think, man? Yeah, former Steelers. He should have been cut. The Steelers have been
pretty good at knowing when to let guys go, I feel like, for the most part.
They are pretty decent at it.
Le'Veon
Henny, what's up, man?
Like, I'm sure he had some years after that and stuff, but, like, we let go Le'Veon kind of at the right time. There's been a couple of guys we've turned loose, and they've turned into garbage for another team. We got good return on it, so.
Jeep, you're right about Christian Gonzalez. He is a lockdown. I will say, after he came in the league last year and then got injured, I wasn't really 100% sure if he was just a pretty boy out of Oregon or if he was actually good. The Steelers passed on him for the offensive lineman, which I kind of was bummed about. But he came back and was really good. Like, this year, he's been great. I think he's probably top 8 on PPR's points list. Yeah, man, I got my ball down. Jeep. I mean, that's pretty much all I do. If you can't tell, all this crap around me, it's all mine. It came from my room, and I turned it into a podcast.
Make sure you give us a follow, Jeep. We've been doing
Jeep, definitely follow
on
along.
Saturdays. We've been having a good time. We picked the best game to watch on Saturday. Maybe the best game all year, debatably. The Moonball game between Bo Nix and Joe Burrow. They were going into the stratosphere That was crazy.
It was a
what a
sick
game. So fun to watch with everybody. We were just reacting and getting crazy. So
it was, and guys, I didn't really elaborate on it too much, but during that show, what you didn't realize is I was sitting next to the guy who I was beating in fantasy football with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, and he was not having a good time.
I got to give him credit, though. He kept it together. That's not an easy situation to be in. So
it was a shitty situation, and he kept it together. I will give it to him 100%. We
womboed and we comboed.
That is absolutely true. User 10 Christian, guys, welcome into the live. We're just chatting about football, what happened this year. Real life legendary night. Craig, I know, dude, you were there for the whole thing. That was a blast. I had a great time. I even went home and was like, damn, that was one of the funnest times I've had on the podcast. Yeah, everyone was having a blast. We were all watching the game along together.
Too, which is way higher than we normally do.
Oh, so yeah, we had thousands of people in there.
Yeah,
it was nuts. Jeep, I hope that you join in with us for that, man. Make sure you're following. We do dope stuff. He says, I think May, Williams, Nix, Daniels class is going to be one of the best of all time.
Big agree.
I can agree with that, Jeep. I'll tell you this. One thing that I was looking at even this morning is the draft class of Baker Mayfield might end up being one of the greatest QB draft classes of all time. Paul, do you know who's in that draft class?
Well, I was going to say, that just reminds me, this is slightly unrelated. We'll have to go back to that. But the Carolina Panthers had Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield
at the same
time. They had Baker running in practice snaps on the D.
He was running practice squad.
And now Baker Mayfield. I'm going to tangent this into one more thing we've been talking about. Is I know that one of our chatters, I can't remember who it was insistent that Joe Burrow is MVP. Well, Baker Mayfield is 9-7 with the second most touchdowns, the second most yards, and a bunch of other stats that could make the argument that he's in the MVP conversation. But he's 9-7. So in other words, Joe Burrow is not the MVP. But what a game.
Jeep says, they are a sad organization. Jeep, let me tell you another theme of mine. Something that I like to do is I'm a big fan of liking real garbage teams. Like, I liked the Lions when they sucked, and now they're getting too good, and I might pick a different team. I'm obviously from Pittsburgh and a huge Steelers fan. That is not going to change. But I always pick a secondary team who's hot dog crap, and I go with them. For a while, it was the Lions. They're so good. If they win the Super Bowl this year, I'm officially out on them. I think I might become a Panthers fan and just be miserable with them. However, Jeep, the Patriots are a decent option too, because they, like we've been talking, we've only mentioned 5 guys' names, and they're the only 5 guys who are already big good on that team. That's another thing that he's mentioning right here. Hey, Parth, what's up, dude? What is up, homie? How are you, dude?
He was in
Jeep. He was in here earlier? Oh, dope, Parth. I'm glad you were in here, man. Jeep says that he's 5'9". Yeah, Jeep, I'm 5'9". Okay, I was 5'9" in high school. All right. I just don't understand how Bryce Young is going to turn this around. The only quarterback who's really short who I ever remember being really good would be like Doug Flutie for a short period of time, and then Drew Brees. That's it.
Did you see
Parth, you won both leagues. Get it, dog. How much money did you win, and what do you plan on doing with the money? Parth, I don't know if you remember, Craig Love was also with us on Saturday for the Watch Show. He won. He's thinking about going on a little mini trip for his birthday. I think that's dope. Parth, you won $400. What do you want to do with it, dude? Logan, what's up, man? Were you the one asking questions? I appreciate those questions.
I was just saying that reminded me of one more play I saw as well. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Eagles and the Cowboys. I should know I should look the guy's name up on the Eagles, but he's 6'8", 366 pounds, and he pancakes this Dallas guy. So funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the clip or not. I'll try to look up the guy's name, but I mean, he just a massive human being next to probably a guy that was like 6'2", 240, looking like a child.
It's Davis.
Looking like a child.
Parth, I think that is a very awesome. Noble would be the right word for it. That's a noble thing to do. Parth, let us know where you donate. Maybe I'll donate some along with you. Guys, let me know what else do you is anybody still in fantasy football? I had somebody during the podcast who was actually asking fantasy football questions for week 18. Yeah. Dude, don't you guys think that's crazy? Well, how mad would you be if your commissioner made you play fantasy football this week?
That's the one
I
guy
would
mentioned. Yeah, that he worked
furious.
his league was like 2 weeks. It ran 2 weeks every week or something. I was
Oh, well,
confused by what he
okay,
meant.
that's a little bit different. LG Jordan, what's up, my dog? Did you win? Please tell me you won, LG. Tell me you're in the money. Come on, please. But yeah, sometimes they do, Paul. They do what's called a double week. So obviously it's an even week season at 18. So you'll play week 17, and your stats from 17 and 18 will combine together for your total score. I hate that. No,
Was it Connor?
LG.
Hopefully it wasn't Connor because we told a lot of
Connor,
people
was
to
it
take
Connor?
Connor.
LG, I lost because of Connor. Did you lose because of Connor? Tell me it wasn't.
Well, in
Tell
one
me it
of
wasn't
these.
so. Oh, I hope it wasn't. Jeep says the first year of our league, we did include all we. Oh, see, yeah, Jeep, I won't lie. The first week I ever did it, but this was like 2007. We also did all 17 weeks at that point in time. I won, but I won because the guy didn't have Le'Veon Bell to play against me at that point in time. LG, please God, tell me it wasn't Connor. If it was Connor, I'm gonna be so sad because I too lost because of Connor. Other things, guys. Who do you think is gonna clinch the playoffs for AFC? Do you think that the Bengals or the Miami Dolphins have a chance, or do you think the Broncos got it down pat? Another one. Vikings, Lions, who wins? In chat, let me know. I think the Vikings win. That's just my personal opinion. No matter where the game is, it's going to be indoors, so it's going to be a good weathered game. I think that the Vikings are able to take down the Lions, and that's coming from a guy who likes the Lions. Par says Bengals because the Broncos play the Dark Magic Chiefs. Par, you ain't freaking wrong, dude.
Are the
Stephen
Chiefs
Cook,
gonna
what's
play
up, man? Welcome
everybody,
into
though?
live.
Are
What's
the Chiefs
that?
playing Pat and everybody in Week 18?
The
clinched?
Chiefs are, no, there's actually a meme going around, guys. I think this meme is absolutely hilarious. My mom is in the other chat. Hi, Mom. Hey, you love the shirt? Yes, it's because you got it for me, Mother. I really appreciate it. Dark Magic Chiefs. No, it's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is going to be the starter. They're going to play a lot of backups. I would imagine defense for the Chiefs plays most of the game outside of whoever that guy is, 95, Chris. Can't remember his last name, but their number one defensive player. I don't think he plays. I think everyone else does, at least until the first half is over. I don't think that they'll be necessarily the best setup, but Wentz literally has multiple teams' lives in his hands. Like, multiple. And that's scary because he almost went and worked for a grocery store. It doesn't matter. They have dark magic. They could start. Yeah, you're right. Parth, they could probably start me and they would win. You ain't wrong. Chris Jones is his name. Thank you. At least I got Chris. I think I was saying Chris.
I say, isn't
But
Chris,
yeah, Chris Jones, I don't think he plays. And that's a major factor. But the Broncos ain't really got a run game to begin with. So I don't really see that.
Chris Jones is John Bones' brother.
Yes, he is. He is John Bone Jones' brother. And Chandler Jones, who was a great football player as well.
He also
and
lost
then
his
a
mind.
crappy UFC player. Abraham Lincoln has joined the chat. Abraham Lincoln, thank you so much for the Emancipation Proclamation. Did a great job. Shark, welcome in. Parker, what's up, guys? We're just chatting about football, kind of just hanging out. Jay, how you doing? You guys need a big win. yeah, big W for Big Abe. Yes, absolutely, Craig Love. Craig, remind me, who is your team again? I for some reason I want to say you're a Colts fan, but I'm not. I can't remember. Remind me, because what do you have going on this week? Can I convince you to join the Pittsburgh Steelers dark side? Is what I'm looking at. Guys, for me, I'm not going to lie to you as a Steelers fan. I don't think the Steelers got it. I don't think they've got much of anything left in the tank. It kind of looks like everybody's tired. It looks like Mike Tomlin has allowed them to atrophy. Allowed them to just like not care anymore after he got his winning season.
No.
And I don't hate Tomlin. It's just like I hate that this is always what happens.
I was going to say,
Parth,
so
I
it
think
looks
Philly
like,
does. Okay.
Joey Porter Jr. is potentially coming back.
Done for the season.
Oh,
I thought he was done for the season.
Okay, I thought the thing I saw was inaccurate, but I thought that they said he might be coming back.
Ooh, Jeep, that is a great question. I'm going to look up Joey Porter Jr. while I answer Jeep's question. His question, guys, if you didn't see it in chat here, he's asking, as a Steeler fan, do I like Justin Fields or Russell Wilson? And the answer for you is, I like them both at different times. This is what I mean. I like Russell Wilson right now for the rest of this season. Do I want Russell Wilson on the Pittsburgh Steelers next year? No, I don't. I really don't. I want Justin Fields back. Yeah. And I don't want him at $30 million either. I want him in first. Jay, what's up? I am in championship and you're up 30. Okay, dude. You're doing a double week. Okay, Jay. I need to keep winning and finish this week. Okay, Jay, what's you got any dilemmas in it? What are you trying to start, brother? Who are your players to start? LG Jordan, do you think Travis Hunter and his social media drama made his draft stock drop down? LG, remind me, dude. Now, I've seen some stuff about him. I actually watched Travis Hunter play some NCAA football last night on TikTok. I'm not going to lie. I was in his live. He didn't seem that crazy there, but I know his girlfriend's like hooking up with everybody or like is in Instagram photos with all these different men is something that I've seen.
Yeah, I did see some weird stuff on her, but yeah, I don't remember what I saw.
That's the only drama that I've seen. And if now, and that's with me not knowing everything there, LG, if that is the only drama that is him, I don't think that it messed him up at all. I think it actually saves his character that he didn't react too much to this and is just continuing on, to be completely honest.
I feel like that stuff doesn't matter quite as much as maybe it did a few years ago, the social stuff anyway. I mean,
yeah, Jeep's saying it was years ago. Okay. Yeah. So he's saying that these pictures are just coming to light now, but they're from years ago. Okay,
people were saying she's like a gold digger or something, but she was with him technically before he was making money and stuff. It's just a bunch of.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's just for clicks and stuff more than anything. I don't think it affects him.
Joey Porter Jr., full participant in practice today. I was wrong. Okay. It looks like he is coming back.
I thought I saw
shouldn't
something.
Shouldn't have listened to the guy at work who told me he's out for the
Never listen to the guys at work.
The guy at work, yeah, right. Parth, Jahmyr Gibbs got me the win with 40-yard touchdown, I think. Nice, Parth. That's awesome, dude. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. He won me my league last year. LG says it's crazy. Yeah, man, it is crazy. It's crazy that, you as an individual, and I'm not going to say a guy or girl because it could go either way in this situation, but you could – work your life off for your dream and your significant other can throw shade on you by, doing something like that. That sucks in my opinion. Jay, you don't know who to believe. What are you trying to believe, dog? Let me know. Are you talking about for your fantasy week? If that's the case, just put some names down. Let me know. I'll talk you through it. I hope a lot of other people try to get wins.
I think he's talking about the same thing you were talking about.
Oh, he's talking about this? All right.
I was going to say, go ahead.
Craig says, Dark Side Steelers have a soft spot in the heart. Okay. From Columbus, big Bengals. Okay,
I've
Craig.
Been to Columbus once, Craig. I had real good food, and I like the way the roads are laid out. I know that's a random thing to say, but it's a nice city, actually. I was surprised.
Craig, as soon as you said that, I remember because we were talking about Skyline Chili.
Mm-hmm.
I remember immediately. You were talking about, you said, yeah, I remember now. Let me see, moving down to a couple other questions here. I got a little bit behind. Jay says it's so weird people find this. Yeah, Jay, that is also very true, dog. Like, it makes me think, like, what if one day this podcast, I get, like, we get super famous, you know what I mean? And then someone finds a time where I'm like, I don't know, I posted, like, a meme that was funny at the time, but not funny later, and it screws me over and like, just stuff like that. It's, like, so dumb.
I get like Facebook that kind of stuff reminders of stuff that I said 10, 12 years ago, and I'm like, ew, I said that.
Yeah.
And it's
like
nothing
your Facebook
crazy,
history,
but it's
you look
still
back,
like,
you're like, I'm not even that person, like, or, whatever it may be. But yeah, I just think that's all baloney, Jay. Like you said, it's weird. I think it's all bullshit, to be completely honest. Hambo, welcome to the live, dude. Gavin, what's up, homie? Jeep says, thoughts on Travis Hunter as a player? I think he's going to be a Patriot. I agree. The only thing, Jeep, that I would say that would change that, and I seen this today, I think it's crazy. I think it's unlikely. The Patriots trade the number 4 overall draft pick, if that's where they land, to the Giants so that the Giants can draft both Shadur and Travis Hunter in the first round. but the Giants give up like
Everything.
everything in God's name in order to get it. When I looked at what the trade would have to be, it's Brian Burns. It is next year's first, this year's second, this year's third, next year's second, next year's third, and a following year's first in order to do that. That's what they think the value is. That is a very Giants thing to do. So stay tuned. Maybe the Patriots fleece the Giants and the Giants go and get both Colorado players. Yeah, but the Patriots have enough picks to build around Drake May for the next century.
I say Jeep says he'll do it for Malik Neighbors, and honestly, he's probably right. Drake May and Malik Neighbors would be elite.
No, that would work. Malik does not. Jeep, hold on. Let's backtrack on what I just said. I love where you're going. Malik Neighbors doesn't necessarily love being on the Giants. And if they go get Travis Hunter, now does Travis Hunter just replace Malik and they don't have two elite wide receivers? Yes. And I'm sure that Malik would want to stay if Sanders was here or there. But I think that would be an awesome trade. I think that would be a great trade. Malik, yeah. LG says May with Malik would be crazy. That's immediately what came to my head. I was like, yo, they would go off. They would be crazy. Yeah, I like that. What if they did Malik in a second for the first round pick? That would be dope. Jeep, I like where your head's at. You've obviously been thinking about this for a while. Patriots will probably get a haul for that first round pick. Yes, I believe that too. Elf Boy, let's go Cincy. Yeah, dude, you guys did great in that last game. Elf, we're going to see what happens in this next one. I think it's going to be real tight. I said that it's probably not going to be a high-scoring game as opposed to the last one. Jeep says, May to Malik, I'd cry for joy. Yeah, dude, I would be crying for joy too. That'd be like the time that you guys got, I don't know how old you are, Jeep, but the time that Randy Moss got traded to the Patriots, and everyone was like, are you kidding me?
I still don't know how that happened, yeah.
Like, are you kidding? Like, everyone was like, how is that happening? That's what that would be like. And those years were terrible for us Steelers fans.
Oh, my God, yeah, that hurt just even thinking about it.
Yeah, it was so bad. It was just like, man, he was killing us. Nick O'Neill, user 77, guys. Welcome into live. We're just hanging out, talking a little football here on New Year's Eve. Guys, if I haven't mentioned it, everyone in chat, I hope you're having a great New Year's. I'm not sure what you guys are doing. Let me know what your yearly thing is. If you have anything, something that you do every year. Mine's kind of weird. Every year, I drink a glass of orange juice with my mom. Not gonna lie, that is my New Year's thing that I do. When I was 5 years old, my mom let me stay up for the first time to watch the ball drop, guys. And apparently, my mom tells me that at the ball drop, like as they're going 10, 9, I started freaking out about needing a glass of orange juice. My mom got the orange juice, brought it back to me, and was able to see the ball hit 1. So that's how that came to fruition. Now we have orange juice together.
Parth has an interesting question. I'm seeding your Parsons to the Eagles, but it also makes me wonder what is Dallas going to do? Like honestly, what are they going to do? Like they got to get rid of Dak. Like what is Dallas? Do they blow the whole thing up? Do they trade what do they do?
Yeah, they can't get rid of Dak. Dak just signed the most expensive quarterback deal at the beginning of this season. So he's staying. I do kind of vibe on what Parth is saying. Parth, there is some kind of vibes going around that Parsons kind of wants to be on the Eagles. He's from that area. He went to Penn State. Kind of sounds like he wants to go there. Will that happen? Dude, you got to be, I mean, Howie Rose, whatever his name is, for the GM for the Eagles, he would have to send everything and its mom to the Dallas Cowboys to get. That'd be like, let me put it in a different way for maybe someone else, like Paul. It would be like us trading TJ Watt to the Ravens.
Right.
Like that. That would be like, wait, what? Like you need to give us everybody.
Another good one brought up here by Craig is Cincy loses T. Higgins to get CD, but I'm just thinking like, there's no way Cincy can afford T. Higgins and Jamar Chase next year, right? They can't.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool there, Craig. But Craig, that ain't possible, brother. No, they just don't have the money for that. On Craig, what you just said there, something that came out a little bit earlier today. T. Higgins, after his remarkable 3-touchdown game, must have softened him up a little bit. He said that he's willing to take a pay cut to play with the best quarterback in the world. He said he would rather play with the best quarterback and the best wide receiver in the world than play for a different team. So T. Higgins is willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Bengals. So Patriots fans like Jeep here, or maybe some other fans who've been really thinking, oh, T. Higgins is coming here next year. He's the big offseason signing for one of these teams. He is not. He wants to stay on the Bengals, and he'll make sure he does. So unfortunately, yeah, Craig, W for you. You're keeping him. And Jeep, I agree. If anybody was getting T. Higgins, it was the Patriots. The Patriots would have been the team who would have went for him. T's going to get $35 million a season minimum. I could see him wanting that. So Jeep, when we were looking at what a wide receiver of maybe T. Higgins' worth is, I'm going to compare him, and you can tell me if you think I'm crazy. Alan, what's up, big dog? I think that he is comparable to what Brandon Ayuk got. I think that that's the money that he would be worth. Now, what is that? That's like 28 to 32. You're saying T's about 35. I don't think he's worth 35 because of his injuries. I think he knows that. He gets injured a lot, but when he does play, let's not get it twisted. The man balls out. He was the number 2 fantasy scoring wide receiver when he played this season. So, excuse me. I think that he's worth about $30 million. And I think that if he goes back to the Bengals, he might take a $27 million, $25 million contract that is weighted late. So that's kind of where I see T. Higgins ending up. Jeep says, I think he's actually hitting UFA. There's no chance he goes back to the Bengals.
If he hits UFA.
Oh. I think that, yeah, okay. I think if he's actually, okay, we'll see, Jeep. That's hopeful thinking because I know that you want him. I know that that's what you want. Jamar's getting $40 million a season. That is for sure. What was, guys, Jefferson's per year? Because I think that's what Jamar will end up. Davis M., what's up, dude? Think Fields has a future in Pittsburgh, sir? Yes, Davis. I was actually talking about this with everyone a little bit ago. I think that for the rest of the season, it is Russell Wilson's football to lose. I think that I don't think we really need to bring back 36-year-old Russ when we have young Justin Fields who we can kind of play with a little bit. Maybe throw a crappy old Kirk Cousins in the background to be the backup. That would work for me, to be completely honest, until we get a rookie in there. I don't really like playing a 36. I don't like playing anybody who's a football player who's older than I am. Okay? That's you know, I'm getting to the age where when I run, I go, oh, that doesn't feel like it used to. Those guys are older than me. So I just don't really want to play around with that. I seen a Blake Corum question in here, and I want to answer it. Alum, is Blake Corum a good pickup, you think? Alum, do you have to play fantasy this week too? Or are you just doing it for like Dynasty? If you need it for this week, I think that the Rams probably going to sit a good bit of people. They don't really need to play anybody. So Blake Corum would be a good play. Parth, and there's a little thing going around the Eagles, yeah, I did see that too, Myles Garrett. Yeah, but here's the thing. So I can agree with you, Parth, with Myles Garrett maybe moving off the Browns. The only way that happens is if the Browns admit they're going to rebuild. If they admit they are going to rebuild, Myles will not want to be there. He already has said that and has told the team that. He says, if the team rebuilds, I do not want to be a part of a rebuild. If the team is going to compete, I only want to be here and nowhere else, if that makes sense. So he wasn't like saying like me. He's just saying, look, you know, I'm getting older. I love it. Love being here. We need to keep competing or I'm out of here. Kind of like a Cam Hayward-esque thing with the Steelers. Moving down and taking a look at anything else we had in here. Jeep, you are biased, but I understand that. I understood that from the jump. And no, Davis, that's fine that you missed it. I'm glad that you're here, man. I understood that you're biased, and that's okay, Jeep. You're allowed to be biased, dude. I'm biased towards my team a lot. He says, what type of contract would you think Fields get? Maybe 2 years, $30 million. I think he's probably worth not that. Not 15 a year. I think he's worth 12 a year. I'd give him a 2-year, $24 million deal, Jeep. It would be weighted, though. First year would be 8, second year would be 16 is what I would probably go with. Jefferson got a $140 million deal, 110 guaranteed. Yeah, and that was for Parth, 5 years, right? I'm pretty sure it was for 5 years. So if you take 140 divided by 5, that's what, 28 million a year? Sounds about right. I think that's right. My math's not that bad. I'm usually pretty good at math. So that's if he got 28 million a year, then I would expect Jamar Chase about $35 million a year, but for less years for some reason. I think it'd be for less years. It'll be for however many years Joe Burrow's contract is. That's exactly how many years it'll be for. Alum, yeah, playoffs is 2-week rounds. Okay, Alum. Alum, I will definitely, without a doubt, help you break down your fantasy football team. You just let me know any questions of guys that you need to replace this week. I'm more than happy to help you get that dub in week 18. Davis says, did I miss one of his? No, I didn't. Okay, maybe Steelers fan bias, but Fields just adds more explosiveness to the offense. So I get you there, Davis, and I actually agree with you 100% that he adds more explosiveness when we're talking about first and second down. Or on short plays. Now, where he doesn't add explosiveness is on 3rd and 15, on 3rd and 20, and these are things that have been coming up a lot lately for the Steelers because of holding, because of different penalties, sacks. Do I think that he is a better scrambler? Yes. Would we get less sacks? Possibly. Would we lose a lot of our downfield ability, though? At this point in time, yes. We've seen Justin Fields. We know that he can throw the ball deep. He doesn't have confidence in himself to throw it deep. It doesn't seem like the coaching staff had that much confidence in him throwing it deep yet. So for the time being, it has to be Russell so that we can have a complementary two-sided offense. Just in my opinion.
Aaron's got an interesting question here. He wants to know, is taking Brock Bowers in the second pick next year too early?
Aaron. Very too early. Yeah. Oh, Brock Bowers. Yes, that would be really too early. Aaron, let me just remind you really quickly of a man named Sam Laporta, who last year was amazing. And then the next year was good, but not as good. These are what happened to these tight ends. So Brock Bowers, nobody had seen tape on him, right? They hadn't played him before. Now they have played him. It's going to be a lot different. I still think Brock balls out. I wouldn't take him in the second round, though. Wherever McBride was taken in your draft this year, that's where I would take Brock next year. That's exactly where I would take him. If that ends up being the second round, depending on the size of your league, maybe. But I wouldn't call him a top level. Next year, I would say he's probably top 5, but I wouldn't say he's a top, like you take him in the second round, like Travis Kelce-esque kind of move. I think that kind of tight end is past for him. Davis, I did want to answer a couple of your questions. I've seen them in here. Miles to the Chargers. I don't see that. Chargers have no money, Davis. That would be why. They're broke. Looking at a couple other questions down here. Jeep says, yeah, as an outside fan who hasn't watched Steelers a ton, I feel Fields brings upside. Yeah, he does bring upside potentially, but like we said, I know that I talked about it a little bit after or before reading this. It's wishy-washy. It depends on where you're looking at the upside. Coley Keith, thank you for following, man. Welcome to the family. Glad to have you here, dude. Parth, it was for 4 years, so $140 million for 4 years. Oh, you're going to make me do harder math. It's like 35 million. Okay, yeah, it's 35 million. Thank you, Parth. So yeah, I could imagine he gets 35 to $40 million, Parth. That is Jamar Chase. You did the math for me. If I would have just scrolled down, I should have just done that. Let's see here, Parth and Aaron. All right, so Davis, thank you for the follow, man. No second round. I will have the first pick in the draft, and I'm drafting Chase. Okay, Aaron, you already know where you're going to be drafting in next year's draft. Is that how your league goes? I'm just going to take a snap. Maybe, Aaron, you got last place, so that means you get first pick next year, potentially. If that is the case, pretty cool. I should set up my leagues like that. I wouldn't take him in the second round. You just got to imagine there's going to be amazing guys in there in the second round. I'm in a 12 and a 14-man league, and one of them, Henry, made it to the second round. In the other one, Barkley made it to the second round. So you just got to consider how many other players are going to be out there that are comparable to Brock Bowers and his potential sophomore slump that he could have or could not have. Plus, he's a tight end. how much of having the best tight end does it really, 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 really help you? It can, but at the downside of having worse running backs or wide receivers, potentially, Aaron. That's just kind of how I think about it. Guys, we will be doing a Wombo Combo Fantasy Football League. Make sure that you're following along and look for notifications for that. We will be setting up a full live draft on TikTok. We will be having live followers be a part of this league. There will be a prize at the end of the season, depending on how many people we get in that league. So make sure you're following. Make sure you end up being a part of that. That's going to be super fun to be able to hang out with you guys. We'll watch football live and yell at each other about who's winning. It's going to be great. Make sure you're tuned in for that.
I don't know if it'll
Jeep
cost
says, damn.
money. Yeah, Parth. I don't know if it'll cost money. We'll have to figure that kind of stuff out.
Yeah, Parth, we'll have to
think
figure
about
see.
that.
We'll have to think about that kind of stuff, Parth. I don't know that maybe we would just make it something like $5, you know what I mean, or something like something
access.
cheap.
Yeah, we
want to make it so that everybody could play. Davis, it would probably be it'd definitely be 12, but could be not limited to 14 or 16. I would want to have, a lot. We have a lot of people who are in our lives, and we want to, be able to hang out with all of them. So I think 16 would be our max.
Like Parth said. So we all have to think about that. That's not set in stone. So we'll
Parth,
talk about that.
Yeah, Parth. It's not set in stone that it would be worth, a pay-in kind of thing. It can just be for fun.
Probably do
I do want to.
And we
definitely
can hash
do
it out with everybody, and kind of even if we have to do like polls and stuff, and we can hash it out with you guys.
Davis, I feel you because 12 is rough. I do 3 12-man leagues. I do 1 14-man league and 1 10-man league. The 10-man league is after you do those other ones. Seems like so much easier when you're going to the free agency, right? But when you do 16-man, let me tell you. Is it awesome when you're the guy who ends up playing Marvin Mims, who blew up against the Bengals? Because you're going to have to play him because that's how thin it gets spread out. It does get really fun because of that. So you got to consider the everything of it because you're going to be playing guys who are going to have running backs who suck, guys who have running backs who are odd. You know what I mean? It's really spread out, which makes it fun. Parth, who should I take next year for my second? Because first I'm getting Barkley or Jamar, whoever is there. Second round, I think there's going to be a lot of guys who are going to be worth the second round pick. And I think Jonathan Taylor would be one to consider. I also think that it really depends on where these guys all land. I really think that you guys can get CeeDee Lamb in the second round next year because of how, Dak not being there this year. I think his value will drop because everyone will forget. Parth, you were thinking Lamar. I like that, but in a one quarterback dynamic, I don't like taking quarterback until at least round 4. You'll notice that nobody normally takes that quarterback until round 4 unless you are in a larger league, such as a 16 to 14-man league. Then at the end of round 3, quarterbacks can normally start getting taken. But my rule strategy of thumb is you don't take a quarterback until the 4th round. In my double quarterback league, I take a quarterback in the 2nd round and then the 4th round. So just to kind of give you an idea. Your friend took Lamar first round this year. Parth, there are people who do that often. I've had people take Patrick Mahomes first overall before, and that doesn't do anything for them. I actually took Patrick Mahomes first overall one time, and he got injured like second week of the season. But on what I'm saying here, you just can't. You shouldn't take a quarterback that early. It's just not what Lamar will give you. Think about it this way: you could take Lamar in the first round. Or you could have taken Baker in the 9th round and pretty much got the same amount of points. So that's why I feel that way about the quarterback position. LG says, I'm never drafted CMC again. LG, did you happen to pop in at all during the podcast? I had mentioned a couple of my guys. For Saturday, LG, when we have our next watch party, I'm going to have a list of 12 of Ben's players he will never, ever draft again. Guys that are already on that list and will not be coming off are Amari Cooper and Jaden Reed. tell you that one. I think Cooper Kupp sliding his old name onto that list too, my guy.
Amari did
But
have
I
a
agree
really
with
nice
you.
catch the other day, though. You got to give him
Who's that?
Amari.
Cooper Kupp? Oh, Amari. Yeah, he did have that nice
had a
catch,
really
but it's
nice
also the
catch.
first catch he had in 3 weeks.
I know, but it was nice. Got to give him a little bit.
Davis, I'm glad that you mentioned that and dropped that in there because ETN was the other guy on my list. Dude, what a bum season for that guy. What we'll have to do is when I do that portion, we'll do that during halftime, guys, of the watch party for one of the games. And I'll have you guys jump in and we'll just start hammer naming them all, dude. Debo was another good answer. Debo was like, dude, come on. I also felt that way about Garrett Wilson. I loved, how about this one, guys? In my draft, Jordan Addison was a wide receiver who fell for 4 straight rounds and sat there. I ended up taking him just because he had a question mark. In my league, a lot of guys don't draft guys with questionables at the beginning of the season. So I took him, and it crushed.
I was saying, Parth brings up an interesting thing. Does Jaden have a sophomore slump akin to C.J. Stroud? I don't think he does, personally.
Parth, I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because to me, I comp him as RG3, and RG3 didn't have a slump second season, and then in the third season he got hurt. Or at the end of the season.
That would be my concern with Jaden Daniels going forward, future-wise, like big
too.
Picture. That's
Davis,
my concern is him getting seriously injured leg-wise because he is kind of like gangly like I am. Like he's a thin dude. I feel like, he's really good at slipping stuff, so I'm not that worried. Grab Gabe. He wants to know whether he should take Najee.
Yeah, Gabe, play Najee. Play Najee.
I've been begging him.
Yeah, Gabe, play Najee, my brother. Play Najee. Who else? Yeah, I know he's your lead back. It was crazy that he got 20 carries, Gabe. Who else do you need to play this week, brother? You and Alum both are in a week 18 double up. Let me know. I'll help you pick through your roster if you got anybody else that's iffy, wishy-washy, definitely. Guys, let me know what else you guys want to talk about. I'm just hanging out. I know that it is New Year's Eve. I know a lot of you guys are going to be hanging out watching the ball drop and stuff like that, and I will probably end up needing to get home before all the cops get out and whatnot. Amir Abdullah is the leading backer. He is the leading backer last week. You have Rashad White as well. I would play Amir Abdullah and Najee and bench Rashad White. Super Bowl prediction, Davis. Right now I'm vibing out that I think it's either going to be the Bills versus the Lions or the Bills versus the Vikings. I think it's going to be one of those two. To be completely honest, it's going to be one of the two NFC North teams who are 14-2.
I'm probably with
That's
you
who it's
on
going to
the
be.
Bills. I don't know who's coming out of the other side. That's where I don't feel anywhere as confident.
Yeah, for sure. No, I could feel that. The NFC is nice. The NFC might be a little bit nicer than the AFC this year, except
that
not on offense.
The Chiefs get banged out this year. Josh doesn't lose to Pat again, and that we're not cursed with another Chiefs Super Bowl.
Yeah, I really hope the Chiefs. Dude, if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl. Gabe, the answer is Tajay Spears. I didn't know that was an option. Play Najee, Tajay Spears, Gabe. Those are the two. Najee and Tajay. Najee. Parth says, Bengals and Packers wild card. I'm kind of worried. I would be, dude. If you were a Packers fan, not an Eagles fan. The only reason I would be worried as an Eagles fan would be if Hurts is still hurt. Otherwise,
I don't know what the Eagles do in the postseason this year. I am confused with them.
Well, you know what they don't want? They don't want to play the Buccaneers. I'll tell you that, Parth. That's who you should. Oh, I'm sorry, hit the mic. That's who you should be worried about, Parth, because Baker Mayfield slays good teams. That is what he is good at. Baker Mayfield, if it's a good team, he's going to beat them. Facts. Let me see what else you guys got. Blake Corum, Gabe, nah, dog.
He says Tajay has a concussion, which might be true. I don't know.
Does he have a concussion, though?
I don't remember that. And he has White as well. He has Rashad White.
He is Rashad White. He is Najee Harris. He is Amir Abdullah. Brother, I would probably do White over Amir. And the reason why I would do White is because I'm imagining that Bucky Irving isn't going to play much of this game against the Saints, probably not at all in the second half after they start blowing them out, to be completely realistic with you. I kind of think that's the case.
That actually makes me think of something else funny. Is that do you remember week 2 when the Saints were a great team?
Oh my God! The Saints set a
were
record
going
for
to
the
the
most
Super Bowl.
amount of points scored in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they
And
were
then they
going
lost
off
like
in week
everybody.
3, and everybody was like, "Is this the Saints' year?"
Let me look up Taji for him. I just want to double, triple check. Another player, if he's available, would be Jaylen Warren. It does look like, yeah, he does. Pessimism about start in week 18 for him. Yeah, looks like I wouldn't start him. I would start White and Najee, Gabe. I would start White and Najee. Davis says Bucks and Bengals if they get in. Dark horses. Wow, Davis. You know what? Just because you said that, you should throw a little $5 down in your local betting app on that, because you'll win like $2 million, my friend. And don't just waste that pick on chat here. Definitely try to go make some money off that, my dude. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Excuse me. Par says we played Bucks start of 2023 and we won. No, you didn't. No, I don't think that's right, Parth. I think that the Buccaneers beat you guys. Bucks versus Eagles. Yeah, dog. No, you guys lost September 29th, 2024, 33-16. It's on my screen. Yeah, 2023. But then you played them in the playoffs, Parth, and lost to them this year. What are you calling about? Parth, come on now, bro. Oh, he was out. Okay, I missed that message. I didn't see it till right now. A.J. Brown was out. Okay, maybe that is a deciding factor, that if A.J. Brown is in the game, if they play each other, that it would change. My fault. I did not read all of your stuff in order. That's my bad. Aren't the Buccaneers fighting for a playoff spot? Gabe, they got their playoff spot. I mean, it's
Saints,
it's
yeah,
pretty.
I don't think the Saints are pulling that out either way.
It's the Saints aren't going to beat the Buccaneers. That they couldn't barely touch the Raiders last week. Remember, it was 25-10 Raiders.
But I mean, it's such a close call between White and Amir anyway. That I mean, it's kind
It
of
is close, but I mean, if you're playing White, you're playing the running back on the better team, who is both a running back and a pass catcher. Amir is the same type of player, but on a dog crap team. So that's why I would go with, and he plays the Chargers too, who is a great defense. So yeah, I would just stick with the Buccaneers players. For some reason, my chat screen went black. All right, it is back. Parth, he had 9 receptions for 131 yards in that 2023 game. Okay, that could be a deciding factor. There is no Chris Godwin this year to save them. He was a big savior for him last year. So maybe, Parth, maybe you're right. I'm not 100% sure on that. Gabe, no, the Saints do not have a good defense. They have a absolutely terrible
Saints
defense.
Don't have a good anything right now.
Yeah, they don't have a good anything. They're playing a quarterback who's most known for being a 14-year-old on a TV show when he was little. So, I mean, that kind of gives you an idea. It doesn't look like Alvin Kamara is going to come back. It doesn't look like Derek Carr is going to come back. They were trying to get Derek Carr, Olave, and Kamara to play in the last game together. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Parth, and now our defense is lights out, especially with Quentin. Quentin out that lock. Oh, I don't know, dude. Did he lock? He didn't lock down Evans. I'm not, Paul. There's something weird going on with the computer, but it's okay. It's still working. He didn't lock down Evans. He had 8 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown.
We had a weird Wi-Fi thing going on last time too.
Is it a Wi-Fi thing?
Okay,
maybe.
If you remember on the watch along, it started glitching out, but the stream looked fine. So I mean, we're getting there anyway. We're about 5 minutes left here anyway. So
yeah, true. Parth, yeah, I you know what, the stats I'm looking at, I can't tell which person was lined up against him when he did that. Mir's questionable with a foot injury.
So then that answers your question even more then.
Yeah, I was right then. Play White. Just play White, man. White doesn't have an injury designation. It was against Old Man Slay, Parth. That would make sense. They need to cut him. What do you feel about him? I think they need to cut him now. Derwin James, what's up, dude? Will Nagy, what's up? We're just hanging out, talking football here for a couple minutes at the end of the live podcast. Right now, we're kind of just talking about a little bit about Eagles, what their playoff situation would be. Let us know who your playoff team is or who your team is and what your situation you would like them to have is moving forward. They say he is projected 10 points. Projection doesn't mean anything, Gabe. I was projected 125 points. My opponent was projected 147. I beat him 192 to 160. So those don't mean anything at all. I know that it looks nice when you're starting, you get your projected, score, and it looks high. I would not do that. Especially, I mean, we kind of already right here in the chat, Gabe kind of mentioned it. You were asking, should I play this guy? But he has an injury designation. And you asked about this guy. He has an injury designation. So I would just sit on the guy that doesn't, and we know is going to play and who produces week over week, and that's Rashad White, man. I'll just go with him.
So
Parr said he did us. Oh, go ahead.
Since we only got a couple minutes left here, I don't know if we talked about it enough, but who's winning on Steelers Bengals? Who's taking that W?
Steelers Bengals. I think it's going to come down to whether. Oh, Red, what's up, homie? Coming in late, my dog. What's up, dog? How are you? I know, man. I felt so bad. I was thinking about you, Red, on Sunday. Sunday. Yeah, I was thinking about you. I was like, man, he's got to be so upset right now.
Oh, yeah. The Colts did not look good here, too. It was not only a loss, but they looked bad doing it, too. Yeah,
they looked bad doing it, Paul. You're absolutely right. Isaac, homie, what's up? Happy New Year's to you. I am lucky that you found our page on your For You. So I'm happy you're here, brother. I had a great year with you. We're not going anywhere, so we'll be here all off season doing just different stuff, whether we're talking UFC, football, basketball, March Madness, the draft. Me and Paulie, what he's better at, video games. So we might jump into some video games and just do some play-alongs with you guys. So tune in. We'll be doing all of that. Red, man, yeah. Drew Lock should be in the XFL, and he spanked us. Yes, it kind of looks like in that football game, Red, the Colts should be in the XFL. Unfortunately, that was crappy. I know, Isaac. I already knew that you weren't going to be rooting for us this week. I already knew.
They obviously need the W to have any chance to get in, right? The Bengals need the W, and do they need other things to happen as well?
Yes, the Bengals need a win by themselves, a loss by the Broncos, and a loss by the Miami Dolphins.
Okay, so I know the Broncos
or tie by the
Chiefs,
Miami Dolphins.
So that could happen. Who are the Dolphins playing?
The Dolphins, I think that they play a division matchup, if I'm remembering correctly.
Dolphins have nothing
They
to
play
play
the
for?
Jets.
Are they eliminated?
The Dolphins?
Yeah.
The Dolphins are the only other team in the same situation as the Bengals.
Ooh,
the Colts
so
were also.
That's going to be the hardest one for the Bengals to get. They really need the Jets to be the Jets, which I guess is. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
or I guess they need the Jets to not be the
you
Jets.
may have said it incorrectly, but
Yeah.
you said it correctly. The Jets will beat the Jets. So that we don't have to worry about the Jets. Aaron Rodgers clearly not going to play. It's going to be a Tyrod Taylor afternoon. This is a 4:25 game. Realistically, Cincinnati fans in chat, what you're worried about is obviously beating the Steelers first and foremost because you're out if you don't. But you just need the Broncos to lose to the backups of the Chiefs. That's really it. You're hoping to play Houston, Isaac. I'm hoping to play Houston too, dog. I think everybody wants to play. Yeah, Paul's saying it too. Yeah. Everyone wants to play Houston. Those guys look terrible. 2 points in that last game. Craig Love says fingers crossed. Yeah, Craig, you and Isaac both rooting for your old-fashioned Skyline Chili boys. Let me see. I missed a question from Red up here and one from Parth. Parth says, do you think Saquon tries to get the record against the Giants? Parth, I do not think it is smart for him to play. I just don't. I really don't. Red says Gus Bradley has to go. That's the defensive coordinator for anybody who doesn't know. And some of the quote-unquote leaders need to go too. Yeah, Red, who do you mean in specific? I could think of some guys.
Yeah, I watched a Pat McAfee little thing about that today. They were talking about, Jonathan Taylor was pulling his BS at the beginning of the year, right? And then, Anthony Richardson has that terrible press conference where he says he just gave up on live TV, which is wild. And then
he was tired. Yeah,
they've had some wacky, organizational things go on this year, I feel.
they've definitely had some weird stuff go on, and they've definitely had some stuff that you can tell that it's a young room, including the coach Steichen. I think that next year, if they can improve their defense, which is clearly a huge problem for them, even though it wasn't supposed to be, I think that the Colts legitimately can turn it around and end up maybe a 9-8 team next year. I know they could end up 9-8 this year, but I mean maybe a 10-7 team, but 9-8 playoff team, wild card next year. It really depends on does Anthony Richardson get that much better. We all kind of hope for you, Red, that he does. He needs to get that ball out to receivers. Red, also one thing I did want to mention. I don't know if you heard me talking about it earlier. The Colts wide receivers, they played pretty decent on Sunday, and then Jonathan Taylor ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. Did you see that too? That's what I caught from that game. Let me see here. Parth, I answered that for you. I don't think that he's going to play. Isaac, I'm sorry it took me a second. I have been to the past 2 Chargers-Ravens games this year and last year. Haha, it wasn't good. Yeah, dude. But, I mean, Isaac, you got to be so happy. Like, Chargers turned it around. The coach is awesome. He's built the best culture. Him and Justin Herbert are like best buddies. It's like they go golfing together and get brunch. You think Zaire Franklin a joke, dog? He was the number 1 tackler. Now, he was the number 1 tackler, Red, for only a reason of they couldn't tackle. And he had to chase people down for the 5th year in a row. He says, wow, 8-9, yeah, or 9-8, yeah. Isaac says, you guys tune into the Fiesta Bowl at the moment? I'm not, because I'm down here. I did watch a little bit of the Michigan-Alabama game, the Fiesta Bowl. Who's in that one? Is that the Penn State game? I'm going to look it up, Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, so your mom said a while ago he's up 7 points in the second quarter, but that was a while.
Oh, okay. Why isn't it giving me the score? Why, Google? Why do you make me have to do this?
It's getting worse and worse, honestly.
Yeah, Google sucks, to be completely honest. To answer your question, though, as soon as I am off live here, I will definitely be watching that. Right now, just for anybody who isn't and wanted a score update, it is 14-7. I'm actually surprised that Boise State put up a touchdown. What's that?
Genty fumbled twice.
No way. Really? Genty's already fumbled twice. Man, I can't believe, I'll tell you this, I can't believe he played. He's going to get drafted. I can't believe he played. I give him props for it, but I can't believe he played,
does that hurt his draft stock at all?
It does.
That's what I'm saying. He might have cost himself some money tonight.
Because the thing about Genty is as much as he's really good, he plays in the Mountain West, and there is not a lot of competition out there, guys. He's not playing against good teams. Isaac, who do you want to win that game? Do you have anything, bets or anything on that game? I want Penn State to win. I like Genty, though. Red said, I didn't see them running JT much in the fourth. Well, that's why, dog. He got tuckered out. Now, don't get me wrong, Red. He ran the ball 32 times prior to this, so it's not like he didn't have an assload of work to deal with. And he did end up with over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm not really ripping him to shreds. I'm just saying, like, you can't run your star player to the point that he can't be on the field because he's burnt out. Like, you gotta have a backup or something, and it's obviously not what they have going. You're saying that Zaire was talking was trash talking the Giants on his stupid podcast and then lost to them. Embarrassing. I didn't know that. I didn't know Zaire Franklin had a podcast. Just an interesting game. He says so far Boise doesn't look great. Okay, Isaac. Let me move down and catch up with the ins, guys, because I know that Paul read a bunch of these questions off to me. Isaac says, my take, Justin or Travis Hunter winning Heisman is finally supporting. Yeah, it is. I guess if Genty's kind of flopping out here in this game, it is looking a little bit better for that take. Absolutely. I obviously thought that because snap count isn't really a stat that you track, that Travis Hunter wasn't the better player, but you're all right. Craig says it's just an okay game. It doesn't look like much competition. Red says, yeah, that draft stock is definitely coming down. Isaac, you have over 7.5. Dog, you got that in the bag, I think. I think you got that in the bag. Genty almost beat Oregon by himself. Really? I didn't catch that game, Parth. Did he actually almost beat Oregon by himself, or was it maybe Oregon State? Because I could see them playing Oregon State. If they played Oregon, I missed that. I can't believe I missed it. Yeah, and Red, I'm glad you agree with me. They, excuse me, they do need a good backup. I like the kid from Oklahoma State, Gordon. I think that would be a good complimentary back to him. Use Taylor more in what he's used for, and then get that real power back, like almost like an A.J. Dillon was for the Packers before he got injured. That punch back. I think that they need a punch back. Let's see. Isaac says, my dad was in Vegas this past week, and he had an 8-leg parlay that would have turned 50 into $4,500, but Colts sold him. Oh, Red, what the hell, man? Isaac would be spending all kinds of money on you and me right now with his dad, but your team can't pull it together, Red. Call them and complain, Red. Let's see here. Week 1. I did not see that game, guys. I'm not going to lie. You think that they need a receiving back? I was thinking to use Jonathan Taylor more as a receiving back. Okay. If you want to use Jonathan Taylor more as that power workhorse and not use him much in the pass game, maybe in a free agency, you go get Austin Eckler, who was just on that 1-year deal. Do you like that? I mean, what else is really out there for a passing back? I don't think Rachaad White's contract is up, and you don't really have a ton of guys coming out of free agency. That would be a tough one, man. It would really have to be a draft pick in my mind. Let me see here. Moving down.
Yeah, I'd say
I'll have to talk.
2
Yeah,
3 minutes
you have
here.
to talk to Ursay about that. Ursay he's probably on freaking Twitter right now saying ridiculous things. Red, you ever see that? He always does weird stuff on Twitter. Parr says, yeah, Oregon number 1 team. He had 200 yards, 3 touchdowns on 25 carries. Yeesh, eat. Drafted in the 3rd, 4th round, you think? Oh, wait. Oh, you liked Hines. Okay, yeah, Nyheim Hines was good. But I'll tell you this about Nyheim Hines, Red. I mean, how many injuries can one guy get? He's just so injury prone. Yeah, he didn't play at all this season. I think he's on the Browns injury squad, I think. But I could see getting a Nyheim Hines-esque player to play behind Jonathan Taylor as being a pretty complimentary player. I think that would be pretty good. I don't know what the Colts draft situation is, when it comes to, like, do they have any extra picks? I don't remember them really trading anyone away recently that I can think of. So, yeah, we're going to have to see how they play out this offseason and who ends up not getting re-signed to their team. Right now, the names aren't very thick. There aren't that many great names in free agency, but we'll see. A lot more defensive names than offensive names. Guys, let me know anything else you guys want to talk about tonight. It is 8:55 my time. I do want to make sure I get back to my house before it gets too late. Unfortunately, I don't mean to cut it short tonight, but I hate the freaking police pulling me over on my way home for some reason, just because there's a lot of drunks out tonight. I don't want to be caught up in that mess. Red, any good linebackers? Yeah, good linebackers coming out. I'll tell you, there's going to be a guy coming out of the Steelers who they will not have. 2 guys at the end of this season, and I think they're both good. One of them did not play much this season, but doesn't really matter when he is eventually back. He's a very great player, great in the pass game too. His name is Cole Holcomb. He comes from the Washington Commanders, played for the Steelers last season, was great, got a really bad injury that kept him out at the end of the season for the remainder of for the entirety of this season. Other linebackers coming out, I think Jordan Brooks will be leaving the Miami Dolphins. I'm pretty sure that was a 1-year deal. He's a great player. I would consider taking a look at him. Taking a look across the rest of the league, I know the Bears defense is starting to get towards the ends of their contracts. Edwards and Edmonds, who are both, again, passing, tackling backs. Maybe something to look in there. Isaac said, oh, I'm sorry, I missed one here. Parr says, I think the Eagles beat the Lions because of the Lions defense. I could agree with that part. That would be the reason why they would win. Isaac says, who is Pittsburgh looking to get in the draft this year upcoming? Wow, I read that dyslexically. Isaac, you didn't type it that way. I just read it like that. I'm honestly not going to lie to you, Isaac. At this point in time, the Steelers have spent a lot of money in the last couple seasons in the draft on linemen, and it has been mediocre at best. I don't think that is going to be the case this year. I think the Steelers really need to revamp that offense. I think Najee Harris leaves. I think a wide receiver and a running back are in the first 3 rounds of the Pittsburgh Steelers' future. I really do. Unless a quarterback is to fall late, like the kid from Oregon was to fall to wherever the Steelers are in the draft or something of that nature, then I could see maybe the Steelers going for a quarterback. I don't really think it's a possibility, though. I think it's probably a playmaker. Hey, Craig, you too, man. I am so happy that you were here tonight. I hope you have a great New Year's Eve. Enjoy it with your family, whoever you'll be with, whatever you're doing. I hope you have a great time. Isaac, roll with Fields. I think that's a great idea. Red says the Colts have 5 players who are a top 5 paid in the league at the position. Makes me angry. Red, we have a couple guys on the Steelers who are like that. The Steelers defense takes up 90% of our payroll, and people, some of them aren't really doing anything. Their names are Minka Fitzpatrick. He needs to do more, in my opinion. I'm criticizing him this week. Guys, I am going to go ahead and give Paul the thumbs up. We're going to cut it out here coming up on this 9 o'clock hour. I got to get myself back home and get with my family for New Year's. I hope that you guys who were tuned in today, I hope you guys have a great New Year's. We came close to getting our goal. We wanted to get to 2,000 before the end of the year. We got to 1969. We were super close.
Good enough
super
for me.
close. Yeah, hey, we'll get it in the next year, guys. Have a great night.
Catch us on
Remember, Saturday.
What game
Saturday
are we
we'll
watching?
be here.
Do you know?
We're going to be watching both AFC North games. We'll be starting somewhere around about 2 o'clock. We'll probably start at about halftime of the first game, do the second half of the first game, and watch the entirety of the second one. They start at 4:30, so maybe we'll just do the full entirety of both. I will make sure to put a post out so you guys know. Look for that notification. Make sure you're following. Guys, have a great New Year's. I will talk to you in the new year here on Saturday. Peace out.